Okay, our learning topic today is solving one-step equations. After today, you are going to solve one-step equations through adding and subtracting. That's your learning target today. We're going to multiply and divide tomorrow. So we need some vocabulary words. Inverse operation. Inverse undoes the current operation. So when I say what's the inverse, what a lot of kids like to think of it as, although I would not be promoted to write this, but I always think inverse is the same as what is the opposite. Meaning if you're minusing, what's the opposite of minusing? Adding. But they like us to use the vocab word inverse operation. Inverse. Inverse, and think about the, inverse is just undoes. When I say to solve, solve is different than simplify. Solving means you get the variable by itself. Get the variable alone. Like x equals something. X or A or B or C or any variable needs to be all by itself. And you need to know what balance is all about. So what you do on one side of the equal sign, you must do to the other side. And when I say that, if I had something like this is a nice easy one. Many of us can do this mentally in our head. 2 times what is 18? But properties of equality says, okay, I need to solve this. I need to get my variable alone, so I have to get rid of this 2 that's hanging out by my x. So there's 2 sides of an equation. There's a left side and a right side of the equal sign. It's all based on the equal sign. So I divide by 2 because that's the inverse of multiply. And divide by 2 on the other to maintain equality. Cancels it out, x is 9. So that's what I mean by balancing things out. Okay, moving on. Let's identify the inverse operations that we're going to be using throughout this unit. We have 4 operations that we're dealing with. We have adding, subtracting, multiply, divide. So, what's the inverse of adding? What's the opposite of adding?
Minus.
I'm going to subtract.
Oh, wow.
So if I see in an equation that I'm adding, I know to undo it, I will subtract. The inverse of subtracting,
Addition.
adding. The inverse of multiplying, dividing. And the inverse of dividing is multiplying. Multiplying. So those are the inverse operations that you need to use. And I use it all the time, even with me solving equations. I say, okay, what am I doing? What's the inverse? That's what goes through my brain all the time when I'm solving equations. Let's apply it and solve some equations.
Yay!
I meant to change this up because this year I'm going to teach it slightly different. And I want you to star. And the first thing that I'm going to have my students do this year is change minus to plus a negative. And I've never really used it, but I do feel that teachers that use it get amazing results. And I want to be a part of that and see, although it's going to be annoying at first, because I still don't love it that much. But it keeps your signs organized, and 8th graders have tons of signs that they have to keep track of. So, to solve, you're going to determine what inverse operation to use. And then you're going to do it to both sides. That's that equality. We must use equality properties. Okay, so look at this first one. I'm going to turn minus 3 to plus a negative 3. Now, I have a negative 3. What is the inverse of negative 3? Positive 3. So I'm going to add 3 But what I do to one side, I must do to the other. So I'm going to add 3 to the other side, and you get x, that cancels out, equals 10. And I am done because my variable is by itself. The goal of solving is to make the variable all by itself. Do I have to plus a negative on the next one? No, because it's plus. So this is a positive 4. What's the inverse of positive?
-4.
So I'm going to minus 4 to both sides. Now, don't let your, be careful. It's not 5.
-4.
You're going to, so that cancels out, right? And you're left with x. And then notice how they're the same sign? Since they're the same, you add them. A negative and a minus, same thing. So it would be a negative 13. Because now, I don't like to do, it is like plus a negative. Plus a negative, which is negative 9 plus negative 4. Same sign, add them. 9 plus 4 is 13, make it negative. But what I did last year with my students, and they seemed to catch on fast, they just saw it's not plus plus. It's only plus plus if it was like that, plus plus. It's not plus plus. They saw minus 4, same sign, so they knew to add it, and then it would be a negative 13. Okay. Now, 5 plus x equals 7. Is that a positive or negative 5? Positive 5. What's the inverse of positive? Minus 5. To both sides of the equal sign. Minus 5. 5 minus 5 is nothing. X equals 2. Do you love algebra? Yeah, you do, because you're going to be doing it all year. Welcome to your year of algebra. Okay, next one. This is the part that's going to be just slightly different for us when we have to plus a negative. So this minus 5, you plus a negative 5. What's the inverse of negative 5? Positive 5. The inverse of negative 5 is positive 5. So I'm going to plus 5, plus 5. Now look at, that canceled. Now, Ethan got it. X equals 6, but here's the thing. I have a negative and a positive, so they're different. That means I subtract them. 11 minus 5 is 6. I have more negatives. X equals negative 6. X plus 9, or y plus 9 is negative 10. The inverse of plus is subtract. So I'm subtracting on both sides of the equal. Remember, if you like to put that line through the equal to keep the balance, feel free. Y equals same sign, negative and negative is the same. So I'm going to add them. 10 plus 9 is 19. Keep it negative. Y equals negative 19. Plus a negative. So the inverse of negative 8 is to plus 8 to both sides of the equal sign. M equals, they're opposite signs, so I subtract them. 8 minus 4 is 4, and I have more positives. All right, another set I am going to have to add a couple that you're going to see today that might you might be unfamiliar with. So I have plus, I don't have to plus a negative. The inverse of a negative 8 is positive 8, so I would add 8 to both sides. And you get A equals 18, adding 10 and 8, because they're the same sign. Turn this to plus a negative. The inverse of negative 2 is positive 2. X equals, they are opposite signs, so I subtract them. 4 minus 2 is 2, and I have more negatives, so it should be x equals negative 2. X plus 9 is 6. Inverse of positive 9, or plus, is subtract 9. Subtract 9. x equals, now they're different, a positive and a negative. So 9 minus 6 is 3, and I'd have more negatives. Okay, plus a negative.
Y equals
So I plus 5 to both sides. Y equals, now they're different signs, so 23 minus 5 is something, what is it, 28 or 18? And I have way more negatives.
14.
Plus a negative. The inverse of negative 11 is positive 11. Do it to both sides.
X equals
14 is x. This stresses me out for some reason, so I always say x equals 14. I like my variable on the left. It doesn't matter at all. I want you to write one more example to close our lesson for today. Whoops, I want the variable first. So make x minus a negative 5 equals 2. Now remember, I told you a plus and negative, didn't I? I told you. But what does minus a negative turn to? Plus, plus. Now here's what my students are going to do. Students are going to be like, oh, I'm going to plus 5, I'm going to plus 5. You get x equals 7. That is your mistake. You are not plusing 5. You must simplify this into plus plus. And then you have x plus 5 is 2. Then the inverse of that is to subtract.
Whoa.
So x should be negative 3. That is the real live answer. This is the no answer that most kids are getting. So any minus or minus a negative, turn it to plus plus. And then the opposite of positive is minus, right? That's your target. You are done.